So for today, I'm going to start reading The Legend of Isis and Osiris. Directions. Please read the following story of Isis. I put this pronunciation. Geez, I can't even pronounce pronunciation. Pronunciation is how to say the word out loud. So if you read ice is, and Osiris, Osiris. Then complete the questions posted at the bottom of your, and oops, it's supposed to say document. So I'm going to go ahead and read this story. I'll try to slow down my reading so it's not fast so you guys all understand. And then I'll read the questions out loud, and then you are free to get started. Once upon a time, a long time ago, when the earth was new and everything was just beginning, the earth was covered with water. An egg floated on the water. Just one egg. When that egg hatched, Ra was born. Ra did not want to spend his time floating around doing nothing, so he flew into the sky and became the sun. Ra dried up much of the water and made the land. Ra was lonely, so he made a wife. He made her Nut. Ra made many gods and goddesses to keep him company. He put them all to work. His children were very busy running the world. Still, they took time out to have children because children were glorious things to have. Soon, there were many gods and goddesses. Ra was the father or the grandfather or the great-grandfather of them all. I'm going to zoom in a little bit really quick. Perfect. All children were glorious, but to Ra, one child was especially important. That child was his grandson, Osiris. Osiris had a brother named Set. Ra thought Set was okay, I suppose, but his favorite by far was Osiris. To show Osiris how much he was loved, Ra made Osiris the first pharaoh of Egypt. Osiris married Isis, his one true love, and the king, Osiris, and queen, Isis, settled down quite happily with their son, Prince Horus. Set was terribly jealous. Why should Osiris be named Pharaoh and not him? In a fit of anger, Set killed his brother Osiris and chopped him into little pieces. He threw the pieces into the Nile River. Set was sure he would get away with this murder. But you know how rumors spread. Isis soon heard what Set had done. Isis managed to gather the pieces of her beloved Osiris. She brought these pieces to her good friend Anubis, the jackal-headed god. Anubis was very clever. He managed to put the pieces of Osiris together again, but he did not have the power to bring him back to life, so that Osiris could retake his place beside his beloved Isis and rule Egypt as king. When the great Ra heard about it, he was furious. He gave Osiris a new job, and an even better job. He made Osiris the god of the dead, which was the most important job of all. Osiris could rule over the land of the dead and be dead himself. In fact, he would have to be dead to enter the land of the dead, so things worked out very well, or so Ra believed. When the young Prince Horus heard what his uncle Set had done, although he was still only a boy, he tracked down his uncle Set and murdered him. Isis was grateful to her friend Anubis and to her son Horus and to her grandfather Ra, but nothing anyone could do would bring Osiris back to her. He would dwell forever in the land of the dead, and she would live forever in the land of the living. Isis knew that she would never see her beloved husband again. In honor of the god Osiris, the king of pharaohs of Egypt, the kings or pharaohs of Egypt carry a crook and a flail, the signs of Osiris. The crook especially became the sign of rulers. The crook looked like a great deal like a snake and was made out of wood. They used wood because wood was sacred. That made it even more special. From then on, and even today, once each year, Isis travels to the riverbank. Remembering and dreaming, tears fall from her eyes. That is why the Nile River rises each year, to bring life to everyone and everything along the Nile. When Isis cries, the Nile will rise, and that is a very important thing. So this says, scroll down, please. Directions. Please answer each question based on the reading. Once completed, please submit in Google Classroom. Submit, don't send. So you're going to have your questions on the left-hand side, and you write your answers in the right-hand side in these boxes that I'm clicking in right now. So question 1, what makes the legend of Osiris and Isis a creation story? I'm going to go ahead and clarify what creation stories mean right here. Creation stories mean how things started or began. So how is this a creation story? How does this story tell of something being created? Question number 2. According to the legend, why does the Nile rise? Tell me why the rivers rise. It tells us directly in the story, so you need to go back into your story if you can't find the answer. And lastly, why did pharaohs in ancient Egypt carry the crook and flail? They tell us what those two things mean in our reading, so once again, you might have to go back. But let's go ahead and take a second and figure out what those things mean. I'm just going to go ahead and copy. Go ahead and go into Google. Paste what that means and what it looks like. Okay, so this little hook thing must be the crook, and this must be the flail. To flail something means to like peel something back. So sometimes people have their skin flailed. So that's what this whip must be. So why did the pharaohs in ancient Egypt carry these two things? Go back to your reading and answer that question here. So that's just 3 quick questions about this long story that I read out loud to you guys, which is a story that tells us about Isis and Osiris. If you have any questions, once again, message me on Instagram, comment on Google Classroom, in our check-ins during the day, during the school days on Zoom. Ask me those questions. You can even use my Google phone number, which is once again in Google Classroom. I know we keep saying this and we sound like broken records, but seriously, guys, just go back to Google Classroom. Any questions you have, use that. It's going to be your best friend throughout this process. Just know it's your teacher's best friend. All right, peace out, Boy Scout, Girl Scouts.